Everybody, welcome to Unit 3 Functions. Today we're going to start with figuring out what a function actually is. So a function is a relationship between an x and a y. And here's the key. In order for it to be a function, the y value depends on the x value. So keep in mind that there is exactly one x. Oh, I don't know what happened there. There is exactly one x for every y. Another way to look at it, x values don't repeat. So they don't repeat if it is a function. Whenever you think of your x's and your y's, always think of x's as the input. So we're going to say x is an input and y is the output. So if you think of that, it will make things a little bit easier. So the first thing we're going to be looking at are tables. So going with our definition, x's cannot repeat. The way I like to look at it is if an x repeats, it's cheating on its partner. So let's look at our first one. If we look at all of our x values, we have x is a 1, x is a 4, x is a 7, x is a 9, and x is 11. Each one of those values matches to a different point. Because none of the x's repeat, we say that yes, this is a function. Number 2 is really similar. Again, if you look at all your x values, there's only one 6, there's only one -5, there's only one 3, one 9, and one 10 in the x value or the x column. So because none of those x's repeat, again, we say yes, this is a function. Looking at number 3, you're going to see that 2 is not being very nice. So looking at number 3, does everybody see that 2 matches with -3, but 2 also matches with -5? So think about relationships. If you're dating somebody and that person goes on a date with somebody else, you do not have a functioning relationship. It's not good. So in this situation, the 2 went on a date with -3, and he also went on a date with a -5. So 2 cheated on -3. Because that x value repeats with different y values, this one is not a function. In a relationship, it's not a functioning relationship if you cheat. With functions, as far as math goes, it's not a function if x repeats. But be careful, because you know how us math teachers are. We like to try to trick you. Looking at number 4, you'll see that 2 went on a date with -4. And then later on, maybe a day later, 2 went on another date with -4. So if you look at this one, 2 was matched up with -4 both times. There was no cheating involved. So yes, this one is a function. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at our graphs. For this one, you're going to want to kind of have your pencil handy so you can see visually what's going on here. So again, looking at a function on a graph, we have to use what's called a vertical line test. When we use the vertical line test, you might want to write this down. It is not a function if part of that line drawn hits your pencil twice. So I'm going to write that down. Not a function if part of your pencil hits your graph twice. Hits the line graphed, we'll just say more than once. More than once. So I'm going to take my pencil over here and I'm going to see if number 5 is a function. So I take my pencil, and you would do this on your paper as well. and I start at the far left-hand side of my graph. And when I bring it over, do you see how at this portion right here, my pencil hits all of these points at once? It happens all at one time. Because my pencil hit there all at one time, this one is not a function. Basically, my reasoning would be there is a vertical line. And don't worry, I have some tricks up my sleeve for talking about vertical lines in another unit. So now looking at number 6, I'm going to take my pencil and bring it over. Again, I'm starting on the far left-hand side. As I bring it over, it might look like it almost touches more than once at this point, but remember, this graph is going to keep on going up. So it's really only touching that line graphed one time, every single time I move it across. Because it only hits it one time, we say that yes, this one is a function. And why is it a function? It only touches the line once. Now we're having a ton of fun. Let's look at number 7. This is a great one. It's almost like a W for Wendersky. It's almost like I planned it. So if we go ahead and look at this one, again, we're going to bring that pencil from left to right. So as I bring my pencil from left to right, it only is hitting that graph at one point. Only at one point. No matter where I put it on that graph, only one part of that W is touched. So again, yes, this is a function, and it's a function because it only touches the line once. Another way to look at it, I'm drawing random vertical lines in here. It only hits my line once. I'm going to draw one in here. It only hits my line once. Right here, it only hits my line once. No matter where I'm moving that pencil, I'm only hitting that line once. Whereas in number 8, if I go ahead and move my pencil across, you'll see that right at this point right here, if I were to stop and keep my pencil there, now I'm going to keep moving. Oops, sorry about that. I'm going to keep moving it over. And you can clearly see that it touches the heart on the top and the bottom here. That's why we'd say that, oops, I did it again. That's why we would say that this one is not a function. And your reasoning here, whereas in the first example, we said there's a vertical line, here we would say not a function because it touches that line once or more than once. Another way to say it is it fails the vertical line test. Let's look on the back side of your notes. Pretty much these all look pretty similar, but number 9, if you notice, my dots are not connected. So if we look at number 9 and I go through every single dot, do you see how my pencil only hits that one dot? If I keep going to the next dot, again, I only hit one dot with the side of my pencil. Again here, I only hit one dot with the side of my pencil. And then finally with my 4th dot, again, I only hit one dot with the side of my pencil. So we would say, yes, this is a function because it passes the vertical line test. And then number 10 is really similar, if not the same, as one on the front side. Even though it looks as though right here it fails it, this is actually a cubic function, and it does keep getting wider and wider and wider. Don't read into your graphs. Take it for face value. It really only touches one time. So again, we would say, yes, this is a function. On a test or quiz, it would be clear as to whether or not it's a test or whether or not it's a function or not a function. Looking at 11 and 12, this is where you guys get to be creative. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw examples for you that we may have not seen. So looking at the first one, we want one that is a function. So I really like the whole polka dot look. So is a function is I would draw random dots. Notice none of my dots are on the same line. So that one is a function. What not a function would look like with dots is if I had a dot, like say we look at the x is -3 line, if I put a dot here and here, and then I keep going. So looking at that, the reason why we would say that's not a function, if I bring my pencil down, do you all see how it touches both dots at the same time? So that's what makes it not a function. Tables are a little bit easier. I'm only going to choose 4 values. So for my first table, I don't know. I'll keep it pretty simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make 1 match up with a 3, 2 can match up with 5. Yeah, 3 can match up with 3. And 4 can match up with 7. Now be careful here. Even though y repeats itself, remember, we're only looking at the x's. None of my x's repeat with different y values, so this is a function. So be careful. Y's don't matter. What matters is if x repeats with different y values. Looking at one that is not a function, this is where somebody's cheating on somebody. We got a 0, we got a 1, we got a 2, and then I write down 1 again. 0 matches with 3, 1 matches with 4, 2 matches with 5, and then 1 matches with 6. So if we look at this one, that 1 is a bad little 1 because that 1 is cheating. The 1 went on a date with a 4 and went on a date with a 6, so that's not our functioning relationship. That's why this one is not a function. Great job today. I hope you guys had a good time answering these kind of questions. If you look at the bottom, it's just an ordered pairs. Don't let these throw you off at all. But we are again just going to look at our x values here. So we have an x value of 2, of 0, of -2, of 3, and 2. Again, I'm only looking at the x value. So for those of you who need a reminder, remember a point goes x, comma, y. So if we look at all the values that I underlined, you will see that my 2 is paired with a -9, and my 2 is paired with a 1. Oh no, alarm's going off, buzzard's sounding, everything's going crazy here, lights flashing, because 2 just cheated. Because 2 cheated, this is not a function. You're not allowed to cheat. That's bad. So 2 cheated. Final one right here. Again, looking at my x values, I have a 10, I have a 3, a -8, a -3, and a +8. I have no repeating x values. Because I have no repeating x values, this is a functioning relationship. So yes, it is a function. I hope you enjoyed today's notes. If you have any questions, please see your math teacher. Otherwise, you can go ahead and work on the classwork that is attached to the haiku page. Have a good day. Bye.